Can you tell me, what is the most honest part of human body? What gives away our most honest intentions? Think about it for a while and I will give you the answer in the following video. For now, let me explain what the body language and non-verbal communication are. Non-verbal communication is, as the name says, communication without using words. It is a means to transfer information using face expressions, gesticulations, using touch and body movement. Non-verbal behavior takes about 60 to 65% of communication between two people, and during lovemaking it can take up to 100% of communication between the lovers. Body language is a branch of non-verbal communication that is focused on body gestures and face expressions. Did you know that when the people who like you see you, they have a tendency to raise their eyebrows, in a friendly manner, and people who are not fond of you will squint their eyes a little bit. There is a lot to be said in the unsaid, and you can use this to improve your knowledge and understanding of what people think, feel, and intend to do. Have you ever wondered why people bite their lips and rub their forehead? The answer is hidden beneath our skulls, where our brain is located. Most people think that we have only one brain, and that it is the center of our thoughtful and cognitive abilities. In fact, there are 3 brains in human skull, and each of them performs different tasks. Those 3 brain parts form the command and control center, which governs everything that human body does. There is reptilian brain, which consists of medulla, the lowest part of the brain, and the brainstem, mammal brain, which is basically limbic system, and human brain, which consists of neocortex and frontal lobe. We are primarily going to talk about limbic system, because it has the most important role when it comes to expressing the nonverbal. It is the primal part of our brain, which means it does not rest and it reacts reflexively, without thinking. There are 3 limbic responses to danger: dig in, stop moving, run away, or stay and fight. In prehistoric times, that was important for our survival, but we still unconsciously use those responses even today. We also need to understand the self-soothing behavior. When we go through some sort of unpleasant behavior or stress, our brain sends a signal to our body to use soothing behavior. Soothing ourselves is not unique to our species. Cats and dogs, for example, lick themselves to calm down. Humans have many different forms of soothing behavior. The most common is touching or rubbing our neck and forehead. When you see that, it usually means that something is bothering that person, or that the person is feeling uncomfortable. The other stress relief and soothing behavior is blowing the air out of the mouth. People usually do that when they have almost experienced an accident. Self-hugging is also one of the soothing mechanisms. Most people think that it is a blocking mechanism, when we don't want to talk to someone, but in fact, it is a protective and soothing behavior. Now, do you remember my question from the beginning of the video? What is the most honest part of our body? Have you thought about it? The answer is feet. That's right, feet together with our whole legs show our real intention. Many people think that our eyes are the most honest. You have probably heard the phrase, eyes are the windows of the soul, but our face can be deceptive. For millions of years, our feet and legs were the primary means of movement. Before humans even invented speech, their feet and legs reacted to the threats that surrounded them, momentarily, without need to think. As Leonardo da Vinci himself said, our feet and what they can do is a testimony of great design. When we turn one of our feet away from the person we are talking to, it means we want to leave. It is a sign of intention. When a person puts their hands on their knees, that is a good sign that the person wants to finish the conversation and leave. It is usually accompanied by leaning the torso forward. When you see those signs, it is time to finish the conversation with the person you are talking to. The most noticeable behavior when it comes to feet and legs is territorial manifestation. Most mammals, whether they are human or not, can become territorial when under stress. Police officers and soldiers use that behavior when they spread their legs as wide as possible to establish their dominance and get things under their control. When you notice a person changing its stance from folded legs to spread legs, you should know that something is not right and that the situation could erupt. If you ever find yourself in a heated argument, try to avoid taking that stance. People who are lying, for example, don't move their feet. They keep them stiff or even hook them for the chair. But don't take this for granted. Lack of movement doesn't have to necessarily mean that a person is lying. It can just mean that the person is nervous and that they are putting their concerns under control. Because many of the vital organs are located in our torso, the brain's natural response when facing danger would be to shield that area. When someone, for example, throws a stone at us, our brain instructs our body to immediately move away. In similar fashion, when we stand next to a person who we don't like or disagree with, we lean or move away from them. If your partner is not engaging their whole body when you are in conversation, it could mean that your relationship is in crisis. Likewise, when lovers sit at the table across each other, you can notice that they tend to lean forward. They expose their body to each other and have more intimate visual contact. Another form of shielding our torso is using our hands and other objects as a barrier. When you speak to someone and the person all of a sudden puts their hands across or self-hugs themselves, or when a kid hugs a pillow or a toy, or when new students on campus hug their books while they walk, those are all signs of torso shielding because they feel uncomfortable. Our hands are very delicate and expressive, and they can help in storytelling and discovering our deepest secrets. Because they can perform very delicate movements, they can depict very subtle nuances of feelings and thoughts. And our arms are used for territorial display and our body protection, so they can be a good indicator that something is bothering a person. We tend to raise and move our arms around when we are feeling good and are confident. On the other hand, we lower our arms and restrict their movement when we are feeling uncomfortable or threatened. One thing that you want to avoid when talking to someone or when meeting someone new is holding your arms behind your back. It sends a message that you do not want to be approached and bothered. You can see that movement, or rather lack of it, with royalty. That way, they send a subtle message that they are more important than you and they don't want to be bothered. When you are holding your hands in a position so that your finger pads on both hands are touching each other, you display a strong sign of confidence. And when someone mentions something unpleasant to you, your fingers will immediately close and intertwine, meaning you are not so confident anymore. Most of us spend a lot of time studying the face of a person we are talking to and don't pay attention to the information their hands give us. When it comes to emotions, our face is a canvas of our mind. What we feel, we convey perfectly with a smile, frown, or any other facial movement. We perfectly recognize when someone is happy, sad, tired, or angry. But our face is not always representing our truest emotions, because we are, to some degree, able to control our facial expressions. We put up a false facade. Since we were little, our parents have taught us not to frown when they give us something we don't like for dinner, or that we should always greet someone with a smile, even if we don't like them. Basically, we are being taught to lie with our faces, and so we have become very good at hiding our true emotions. And if something comes to the surface, facial expressions can be very short on the level of micro gesticulations and are hard to notice. Squinting, forehead wrinkling, and distorted facial features are all signs of unease and discomfort. When we get excited, surprised, or suddenly in conflict, our eyes will enlarge and our pupils will dilate in order to get maximum quantity of visual information. When our brain processes that information and establishes that it's negative and threatening, our pupils will narrow and will squint a little. That is called eye blockade, and it is a limbic response to protecting our eyes. Other type of eye blockade is when we pass our hand over our eyes, or when we completely cover our eyes with our hand, or when we squeeze our eyelids. When we stare at someone, we either like that person, we are curious, or we want to threaten them. In order to figure out if the stare is a sign of affection or threat, we need to look at other parts of our face. If there is a slight smile, it means we probably like the person. If the jaws and mouth are clenched, it is not a good sign. If we look away during the conversation, it is not a sign of rudeness. It means we are thinking and processing new information. Many people do not understand this behavior. If we look away when close to a person, it means we are feeling comfortable and we trust that person. We are exposing vital parts of our body, like neck for example, because our limbic system does not detect any threats. Clarity of thought increases when we look sideways. It is well known that people have a real and fake smile. With a little practice, it won't be hard to differentiate real from fake smile. For example, if your friend says that he likes person A but doesn't like person B, and he invites them both to, let's say, a party, watch how he greets both of them. It won't be the same. When someone's nostrils dilate, it is a sign of excitement. It shows that the person is getting ready to do something. Be aware of this next time you get in a fight with someone, as this can mean that person is getting ready to throw a punch or to run. When you catch a certain signal on other person's face, you should always compare it with the non-verbal behavior of other parts of body, because the face, as we have already said, can be deceiving. Detecting a lie is really hard. Research showed that people, including doctors, lawyers, police officers, FBI agents, politicians, have a 50-50 chance of detecting a lie. That is why we should remember that there is no single behavior that can show us a deception. If you want to catch a liar, the best you can do is make him feel comfortable. When a person feels relaxed, they have a tendency to use movement of their hands and other body parts to express themselves, and that is their basic behavior. After you have established what their basic behavior is, you should start with difficult questions. There will be immediate change in person's behavior. Connecting various nonverbal signs can help you make decision whether the person is lying or not. Do not rush to the conclusions. With practice, you will become better at deciphering body language. There is so much more to learn about this topic, and I would suggest reading a book written by Joe Navarro called What Everybody is Saying. That book was my guide for making this video. Thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.